Alright, in this video we're going to go over setting up the external PC. This is the Open VPN client. It needs the setup and keys from the configured firewall. But first, let's install that external PC. I'm going to do it from scratch using a provided OVA appliance. So I'm going to go to File, Import Appliance. I'm going to browse to my downloads where I have this appliance. And it's a client we've used before. I'm going to import that and continue. Once the import is done, I'm going to then do their setup. So I'm going to save it on the hard drive. The import is going to take a while, so I will pause the video while the import completes. Once the appliance gets imported, here it is. Let's go ahead and change some settings on it. Select, edit our settings. Let's give it a name. cis338. We'll call this external. And I'm giving a number 2 because I've already tested it on a number 1. And the network, we want that to be on our external network, which is the bridged adapter. And shared folders, we want to use the same shared folder that we provided. We saved that was shared from the pfSense machine. This is a VirtualBox thing, and I have it over here in my documents. VM shared. That's the shared folder, and that's going to contain the configuration. In the real world, you would be putting this on a jump drive, emailing it, providing this file with the access keys, and the install of Open Vpn. Alright. It already has Windows installed, so I don't need to point to any ISO. So let's start it up. And if the startup takes very long at all, I will pause it. Is he starting up the Windows? I'm going to pause it because it takes a few minutes the first time starting up. Alright, the virtual machine has started up. I'm going to log in with the password. Okay, I'm logging in as a Comp Club user. Windows is taking a little longer the first time. I am running the pfSense firewall, but nothing else is running. If you had other machines running, if you want to get this done fast, I would probably be pausing those machines. But you can see I have these other machines off. This is running. Let's go back to this guy now. Alright, he's firing up. Now remember that share that I set up? We'll wait for Windows to finish setting up here. And we will browse to our VirtualBox share. Very handy thing to do, to be able to do. That's why it's good to install the VirtualBox extensions in your virtual machines. There's that old Forta client software. That may actually be starting up and doing some scanning. We'll see what we have running here. It may be busy in the background. Still background service is still starting up. I'm going to pause it until all those are done so I don't spend a lot of time just waiting here. Alright, now that the Windows is finally started up, I'm going to explore to the shared folder, VirtualBox shared folder. Browse to the shared folder. VBox SRV is the name of the network share, and network connections are the virtual boxes connecting right. It should show the VM shared. There we go. And now we see the various configuration files that I have downloaded. I'm going to go with the very latest one. That would be this one right here. The others are from previous practice setups. Okay, here we go. This will install Open VPN and then install the configuration for the Open VPN. The configuration is the address of the Open VPN server, and then there's certificates that are installed as well. They come with the configuration. So the client installs OpenVPN, the latest version that was indicated on the pfSense page. Running through a few programs here, doing the OpenVPN install. There we go. Yes. I have noticed too, if I give the Windows system a little bit more memory, it may run a little faster. There we go. Can install a few things. You have to say yes to several screens. Location. Make a note of what version of OpenVPN, 2.4.8-I602 is my current version. Wouldn't be bad to do a screenshot of that installation. Remember, versions will introduce little changes here and there. Usually they don't break things, but whenever you document something you're doing, you need to document what version worked. And if something's broken, what version was it broken on, so someone can fix that or help you through that. I don't need to see the README. Now I'm going to click Finish. Now this doesn't start OpenVPN, it just does the installation. And then I close the installation. Now to actually run it, I can close the Windows Explorer. And there's the OpenVPN. I think there's a way that you can have it start up at the start of your computer, but I want to be able to have control over that. And when it is running, it will show an icon here in the system tray. Double clicking. You'd think, oh, it hasn't done anything. It just spun and then nothing happened. You'll see something pop up in the system tray if it's all working. Let's see. There. That little icon there is the GUI. You'd think starting up it would ask you to connect or bring up the GUI, but no, you have to go to the system tray, right click, connect. Because we're not asking for a user password, we're only doing TLS authentication. The first time it will ask this question, I'm going to enable it in case I ever go on a public network, even though I'm not using a public network right now. I'm going to allow access from OpenVPN, regardless of what network I'm on. And now, how do you know it's working? Well, one way to know, I suppose, is I should be able to visit the internal side of my pfSense. But what I usually like to do is bring up command prompt. Come on, command prompt, see. See, oh, a little slow responding here with VirtualBox. I've got 16 gig of memory. There, finally, it's starting to think there. This is why it's nice to put the command prompt on your toolbar. Right-clicking in the taskbar and hit enter just to start it up. Just to verify what network I'm on, I can do a ipconfig. I see that I'm on a local network, and I have to remember, and I see this is that tunneling network that it sees, and I can also do a ping 192.168.56.2. Remember, that's the internal LAN side address of my pfSense server. And this ping, if it works, means I am connected to that LAN. Now there is not yet a running Windows system on the other side. That'll be the next video. Another thing that I can do now that I am effectively on the LAN side, I can bring up the web page for pfSense. So, browsing to that internal address, if the VPN is working, I should be able to browse to that address. And with servers, you do not allow WAN access to the pfSense web pages, pfSense admin pages. So 192.168.56.2 should take me to the pfSense. So that's another verification that I am on the LAN side. And just to show you that I should not be able to get to the external side, let's see, how do I know the external side of that? Well, I can see that here. I see his WAN address is 043. If I try to visit 192.168.0.43, it should deny access, because you do not want people being able to come to the admin pages on the external side. You do not even want to make it available, so it should time out. So this is timing out because you never set up a firewall to be accessible from the internet, unless you're just doing a test setup and you're happy to let people come in. You better only do HTTPS if you ever do this on an experimental firewall. Never on a production system do you allow direct access to the admin pages. Even SSH. It's just not a good idea. Alright, so now we have our LAN setup. Next thing to do now is to set up an internal PC with Windows file sharing. We can do an FTP file server, FileZilla file server, and we can just do a basic ping. Oh, and also allow remote desktop into our local network. But we have to set up that PC. That'll be the next video. So here's what we've done. We have this guy set up, connecting through to here. It can browse to this LAN side of the pfSense. I can ping it, and I can browse to it. Now we want to set up this PC so we can ping it, set up a Windows share, remote desktop in, and even do an FTP FileZilla file server.